Well, good morning, everybody. Hello. Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room. I've even got a little sign that says so right there. I embroidered that. This is a Monday through Friday virtual stitching retreat where we hang out in here and you guys just follow me along on my sewing journey. And hopefully you're doing some stitching too, or you get a little inspiration to get something under the needle. I'm sure you have a UFO sitting around nagging at you saying, hey, what about me? What about me? Right? Hope you guys are doing great. Lots of folks here in the chat already from all over the country. You guys over there on the West Coast waking up early. Good for you. It's wonderful. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Thank you, everybody, for your well wishes for Keith, my husband. He's having a knee replacement tomorrow morning. So we will not have a Stitchuation room tomorrow. But that's okay. I've got like 900 videos on YouTube. You can find something you have not watched before, I promise. but I will be here on Wednesday for sure. Even if they keep him overnight, which we don't know right now, then I won't go until after all the morning traffic dies down and visiting hours and all that kind of thing. So yeah, good day to everybody. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. So Julianne says she has way too many UFOs. Yeah, certainly that's certainly the case. So today I wanted to stitch one of the block number 3 from Lori Holt's How to Build a Scarecrow. But I wanted to show you guys some goodies. I got some stuff that came in over the weekend. I've got my Power Tools with Thread mug. I love this thing. This is from BeInspiredTees.com. And Sheila, she's one of us, and she's got a little shop that makes these logo things. If you want to get one like it or any of my other merchandise, there's a link below in the description box, and there's a coupon code for 15% off. So, yeah, okay. You got your new Luminaire, Linda. Yay for Linda. Look, yay. Good for you. That's wonderful. Congratulations, Linda. Now to figure out how to use it, right? Hopefully you are familiar with Brother Machines. All the buttons are the same. Don't be intimidated. Frito's over here. Where's my baby girl? Come here, Frito. It's Frito's goldfish time. She wants one as soon as I come in here, but you guys aren't on yet. Well, let me get my ironing cart out of the way. Hi, baby. Come over here and say hi. Come here. Good girl. You going to sit down? Yes, you're a good girl. Good that? Yeah. Oh, sweet baby. She had a very good weekend. She got to go to Home Depot with Daddy yesterday. Yes. Thank you, baby girl. You're a good, sweet girl. She got to go to Home Depot. Keith's putting a plug on the outside of the garage so that he had to get some wire. So anyway, it's your first time here first time to catch me live. Well, welcome, Sarah. Thank you for spending your evening or afternoon with me. That's great. I appreciate that. And Keith does too. I'm sure he's probably looking at comments and stuff. He does. He tries to keep up with the chat. So you're going to stay right there just in case I get an idea to give you another one. So this weekend, I got a lot done. I was very productive here in the sewing studio. You may remember I had this panel from J. Wrecker Fresh. This is White as Snow, and it's got some snowmen that are they're hanging wash in the wind, and it's just the cutest thing. We don't get any snowmen here in my neck of the woods in Texas. Rarely. It snowed 15 inches in 1985. That's about it. So, and that was the day before I went into labor with my son. No stress there when the highways are closed. So I used from Urban Elements. Look, they look like soap bubbles. Those are, do I have gifts to give the medical staff? Oh, no, ML Weber. So they look like little soap bubbles. I thought it was so cute. All right. And I did this on the King Quilter 2 Elite from Sewing Machines Plus. And the pantograph is from Urban Elements, Kristen's Champagne Bubbles. And I have Pro Stitcher Premium on my machine. But this design was from outside of Pro Stitcher. So I just threw that on there. I thought it was perfect. And I did not add, if you notice, if you're a brand new quilter, brand new, right? This picture on this fabric, they call that a panel. So it's not pieced at all. It's just one piece of fabric. And then I made a quilt sandwich out of it. I put my little hanging triangles on the back. The quilt sandwich is the backing, the batting in between, and the front. And then I did the pantograph on it, which is the stitching, the quilting, and added a binding. Now it's skinny because my wall space in my laundry room is skinny. I don't have a whole lot of wall space. So did that and got that finished. And while this was on the long arm, this was one of the panels. I actually had 3 of them on the long arm. And I love this panel too. It is darling. You're absolutely right. So there were 2 others on there, and I was just playing around with designs that are inside of Pro Stitcher. I love Pro Stitcher. This is my 3rd automation to play with. Love Pro Stitcher. Absolutely love it. So what I did with these are some old, trying to remember who made this panel. Did I cut off the selvage? I think I did. On both of them? Yeah. Fig Tree and Company, I bet you. That sounds familiar. So I'm going to cut these apart. Aren't those cute? I just did a cross hatching that was inside of Pro Stitcher on these, each one. And I'm just going to cut them apart and bind them. And again, they were on the ho, ho, ho backing. So I have several. I only need 4, but I did a bunch of them. Okay. And then there is a centerpiece to this in between those panels. And I loved the design. I'm trying to isolate it so you guys can see it. Let me see here. Okay. And it's got little snowflakes. See that? Isn't that cute? That's adorable. So I'm going to cut that. There's that whole piece right there. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm just going to use it as a little runner on my table, and it'll match the placemats, and that'll look great. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, that is Fig Tree. I thought so, Free Spirit. I got to share something with y'all. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh. You know the old saying, the cobbler's kid has no shoes, right? Oh, Carol, I got a lot done. Oh my goodness, I got a lot done. Well, she says she wants to be like me when she grows up because I get so much done. I don't have the distraction of kids and grandkids. I don't have that. They live in Colorado. Although my son did send me a picture of my granddaughter. She was watching me on YouTube. He says she's been binge watching you for over an hour now. My old tutorials. Sweet girl. She's 10. Sews like crazy. They were on their way back from a camp that she was at, and it was a craft camp, and she sewed a skirt, an elastic waisted skirt. And they FaceTimed on the way home, and I was like, let me see your hem. Did you do an elastic waist? Oh yeah, Grammy. So it was pretty neat. And you have the distraction of your husband. Tell me about it, Midge. Don't we know that? Don't we know how that goes? You're just like kids when you get on the phone. Pay attention to me. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? So for years and years and years, obviously, when you see this thing. So I use a curling iron still. I mean, if I don't use a curling iron up here, everything's very flat, right? I need some lift. So to prevent the curling iron from causing any damage on my dresser where it sits or on a sink or wherever I happen to have it, I just used an old pot holder. Okay. Well, this pot holder, would you look at this thing? Look at this thing. This is horrible. I got it at Walmart 100 years ago. It's got little coffee cups on it. I used to tuck my curling iron in here like that to travel. I'd stick it in there, if it was warm, and that way I could wrap it up and stick it when I was going to travel and all that. And I was thinking about it this weekend, and I thought, why am I using this? I'm a quilter. So I'm going to make another one of these today. I don't know, or this week. We'll say this week. I don't know about today. Hopefully I have some downtime with Keith on the mend. in the bed. But yeah, so this is in the queue. Okay. Now you might think, well, what do you want to put inside of it? I know it doesn't have to be a lot, but you can't buy pot holders. It says Better Homes and Gardens, so you know it came from Walmart, right? You can't buy pot holders this thick anymore. You can rarely find them. This is very old. Now they're all thin and cheap. But I was looking at Wrap and Zap, and it's packaged to go into a microwave. My deal with pot holders is I don't like to use the stuff with foil in it, with the metal in it, because you never know what's going to go in the microwave. So like bowl cozies and whatnot, they tell you to use Wrap and Zap. And I'm looking at it going, it says microwave safe. Well, why is it microwave safe? Because it's 100% cotton batting. 100% cotton batting. I have rolls of 100% cotton batting. You know, I have scraps of 100% cotton batting. It's crazy. So if you're thinking about getting, or you need Wrap and Zap to make the bowl cozies or pot holders or anything like that for the kitchen, just get some batting. Don't use poly, right? 100% cotton. Same thing. It's the same thing. It's just packaged different. So anyway, I got in some fabric, additional fabric for, I had told y'all I was going to make Dearly Loved, right? And the woolly wall hanging from Corey Yoder. I love this guy. And Coriander Quilt. Listen. Lath is trying to tell me how demanding men are when they're sick. Mine is not. But he wants to be left alone. Unless he calls for me, I don't go near him. I avoid him at all costs. He's one of those. So, okay. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I need to start getting these cut, and I'm having a hard time deciding which one I'm going to do first. But I needed additional fabrics from this to support this, because all I had was a fat quarter bundle. And I love this line. This is the Starberry line from Corey Yoder. I've got it linked below. It's from the Fat Quarter shop. It's where I got this. Now, they had a bunch of the fabrics that I wanted, but they didn't have the ones that I needed in the amounts according to here. I found a quilt shop in Nags Head, North Carolina called the Crow, Rusty Crow, something like that. They allow you to get smaller amounts on their line, on their, let me see, make sure I've got are y'all familiar with that? You vote for the reindeer, so do I, Candace. Yeah, rustycrow.com. Okay. So that's them right there, rustycrow.com. They've got a great little website. I just went looking for the SKU number of the fabrics that were on the back of the pattern. This store had all of them except for this red, which I got from Pink Chihuahua on Etsy. So look at the little sheep. Look at the sheep in the circles. Aren't they precious? Oh my goodness. This is the Starberry line. So look, see, I just needed a little bit of this. And they've got it. I look for shops that allow those smaller cuts, because if they've got a 1 yard minimum cut, that doesn't do me any good. I don't want to store that fabric back. Okay. And some of them only needed, let me look. Yeah, I'm leaning toward the reindeer too. Let me see. Some of these, a fat eighth was what that was. And they allow you to order a fat eighth on the website. Okay. I'm pretty sure. So there's the words in the green. This is a white on white. It's hard to see, but it's the white on white. I don't know if you'll be able to focus on that. Very pretty stuff. Okay. Carol says to use a mason glass jar to hold hot stuff. Girl, I'm of the school, no glass at the pool. I knock things over constantly. I can't. So here's another, I don't know if this is a quarter yard or an eighth of a yard, whatever they allowed me. And then I needed the white on tan. And then this fantastic buffalo check. Gotta love that. And then this is that outer border. Just beautiful stuff. This stuff's hard to find, but they had it on the bolt there. So they cut it all out for me. And their website said it was going to be 2 to 3 weeks before it arrived. I got it in a week. They were great. They were great. So that came in. And then I ordered, you guys, I had shown y'all I was making the Jelly Roll Race quilt for my friend Cindy. And I needed a cuddle backing for it. I ordered that from the Fat Quarter Shop, and that came in. I want to show it to you. Let me turn this around. So it's a beautiful baby blue cuddle. I love it. It's 90 and it's fine. And then the design that I'm doing right there is, I don't know if you can't see a whole lot of it, but that's called Field of Flowers, and that is inside of Pro Stitcher Premium. So that's in the works. I should have that completed today, and I need to get it out in the mail to her to Houston tomorrow. I'm using a batting in there I got from Loft Supply, and I'll show it to you probably tomorrow. I'll get a chunk of it. They've got this new one. It's loftsupply.com. It's a 50-50 bamboo cotton blend. I love this stuff. If you're in a warmer climate like me, okay, this stuff is real thin. It doesn't have any holes. It doesn't have any bowls in it at all to break your needles. But the bamboo gives it a really nice softness, a richness that just drapes. I love it. Antibacterial, naturally green, eco-friendly fibers. And this is the full size, a pre-cut. Loft Supply is going to be at our RV sewing rally in September. And he's going to have pre-cuts for you guys. So if you need batting and you're coming to that, hold off. He'll have all different kinds of stuff that you can take home with you. Okay. So also I got to give a plug to the Liberty Box. You'll love it. What's inside of it is so super cute. If you are making and following along the little 6-inch minis from On Wander Lane, you'll really love it. You'll really love it. Very cute. Okay, so then this weekend, I got 8 of the star blocks cut. Boy, those are tedious, you guys. That was what we did on Friday. We cut 2 blocks, right? So I got 8 of them cut. Well, 2 of them with y'all on Friday. You got your Liberty Box already, Ann? Oh, good. Shh, don't tell anybody. So, got it cut, and I have got 2 of them sewn, and they are right there. Okay. So let's have a conversation about those blocks. Let me get them in there. Let me get you in there. That's what they look like right there. There's block number 1, and that's block number 2. How about those points, ladies? Huh? Yeah. They still have Liberty Boxes available. I just checked on Fat Quarter Shop. I've got a link to it below. If you use my link, I'd appreciate it. If you don't, that's fine too. So I know that big project in there is beautiful, isn't it, Bernadette, in the Liberty Box? So this thing is made, these are made, it feels like, with nothing but half square triangles. So there's a half square triangle, there's a half square triangle, there's a half square triangle. And there are 4 units that have those half square triangles. Okay. You absolutely have to watch Lori Holt's video on how to make these, or watch this video again and skip forward to when I get to sewing. Because if you get a hair and decide that you're going to go your own way and make your half square triangles the way you like to make half square triangles, If you cut the fabric to the size that they want you to cut it in the sewing guide, your half square triangles will be too small. How do I know? Well, because that's exactly what I did. I decided, well, I know how to make half square triangles, and like a goof, it turned out beautiful. Okay, I got my little seams pressed open. Everything looks wonderful. It's the wrong size. It won't fit. So it's exactly the size it needs to be with no seam allowance. Perfect. So just FYI, if you are making this quilt, Lori Holt has a very unique way. And I just went into YouTube and I searched Lori Holt on YouTube search bar, Lori Holt, how to build a scarecrow. And this video comes up. Or if you are looking at her blog, you can go to the week of the squares that she's supposedly, she pre-made them all, right? And there's a link to the video there. Don't make your own with their cut fabric. You need more fabric. Yeah, you need more fabric. All right. Than what the cut size says. If you're going to make them on your own, you're going to need more fabric. Okay. So, thank you, Debbie. Thank you. My video about connecting points is excellent. If you are brand new to quilting, I have, and I'm going to demo some of that here. Okay. Let me see here. There we go. I'm going to demo some of what I talk about in that video here today, because when Lori Holt does her cutting, she doesn't fold over first to know where it's going to go. And that's the only thing in that whole process that kind of wigged me out. I could never do that. My points would not look like they do if I had not folded everything over. Okay. What do we got going on here? You had that problem with a kit from Annie's. Yeah. That's the thing, you guys. Sometimes, these designers, they'll say, well, here's how you make it. And they don't tell you, if you use your method, it's not going to work. They don't tell you that. So it looks like we have brand new quilters here. We're getting a lot of basic questions. I love how you guys take care of each other in here and are not afraid to ask a question. That's what this is all about. You go places. What's sold out? NVM, the finishing kit. Oh, okay. You guys are not afraid to ask questions, and you never should be. We don't tolerate, people saying, I can't believe you don't know that, because I've had emails from people saying that kind of thing. There was an email I wanted to tell you guys about that I got. And did I print it out? I meant to. Oh, here's the binding I got for that quilt. It's from the same line. The line for Cindy's quilt is Shoreline. Yeah. So from Moda. So anyway, my friend Anne came over on Friday, and we had a wonderful little sewing lesson, quilting lesson, sent her home with a 9 patch with perfect 1/4-inch seams. She had a little, I don't know, she bought this sewing machine years ago, a little $80 sewing machine she bought at Walmart. And it was a brother. And she said, you're going to laugh at me. I said, I'm not going to laugh at you. That's fine. And she had never cleaned it. She didn't even know that the needle plate came off. And it was acting horrible, of course. So I took the needle plate off and cleaned it all out. It had gobs and gobs of dust and fuzz in there. So anyway, we learned about cutting, just like you and I did on Friday. And we learned about the different manufacturers of fabrics and what the difference is between buying fabric at Walmart or Joann's and Hobby Lobby and buying fabric from a quilt store. And we learned about pre-cuts, and we learned about starch and pressing and a 1/4-inch seam. And I sent her home with a perfect little 9 patch and a scrap of batting and told her to make a 16 patch for her backing. She had all these 5-inch squares that she had pre-cut and brought over. So it was great. So you still can't get the turn of cloth to work 100% of the time, Alicia. You still struggle. Practice makes perfect, my friend. You will get it. Okay. When I say half square triangles don't work, do I mean it will not be enough fabric in the kit? Marie, what I meant was if you don't make the half square triangles Lori's way, you're going to have to recut them and then do it Lori's way. Okay. So if you've got a half square triangle ruler and you just want to sew these together, right, and trim them up and everything's cool because you know that works perfect and you open it up, your half square triangle is only going to be the size it needs to show on as the finished block. You don't get any seam allowance. Okay. So be very careful of that. Lori's method does not use that. That's what I'm trying to say. So, all right. All right, here we go. In the spirit of asking newbie questions, you prepared all of your fabric for a Kimberbell Sweetest Pie pillow. You prepped every piece of fabric, cut fabric with SF101 help. You can pull that off. You can pull that off. You can heat it up and pull it off. Throw it in a hot dryer in a laundry bag and heat it up, and pull it off. There's nothing wrong with that. If you've got, just make it anyway. Just make it anyway. There's no big deal. It's going to change the hand of the fabric a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. I've put heat and bond on stuff I didn't mean to. I normally put heat and bond on applique fabric that is light in color and I don't want a dark background to show through. But in Kimberbell projects, they like you to put SF101 on the back of your background fabrics, not your applique, so that you've got enough stiffness to it that the tug of the zigzag going back and forth in that satin stitch doesn't make it pucker. So I think you're fine. Okay. Everything will turn out just fine. Don't freak out about it. It's a pillow. It doesn't need to be soft. Yeah, no, it need to be soft. Yeah, Lynn is correct. Lynn's. Yeah, it's actually better, I think, in bench pillows to have a little bit more substantial hand to your project so it's not puckered and it stands out and you can see all the pretty stuff. So, all right, you guys, we're almost half an hour in and I haven't made a stitch. So let's get to this. I'm going to go ahead and make block number 3. Here we go. And I've got I just have my picture right here to show me what fabrics go where. Okay. Well, we appreciate you too, Nightingale News. All right. I've got my glasses on my head so I can see what I'm doing. And I want to get you guys in here and show you how she does this. This is a pretty neat way to do this. Okay. So what she does, let me turn we had a huge power outage this morning at 4:30. And I was glad none of my machines with a brain in them were plugged in because the power went and then crash. So we had a good rainstorm on Saturday and I had everything unplugged. All right. Okay. So it looks like here the half square triangles are the turquoise and the background quilt, the background fabric. Whoop, right there. The turquoise and, pardon me, the turquoise and the background fabric are the first ones. And she wants you to make 4 patches. So I'll show you how she does this. So and it doesn't matter. Now she likes to she likes to press her seams open. Y'all, I just don't get a good nest when I do that. She makes allowances for it. They say it makes the block flatter, which is true. However, I use a couple of pressing tools. I'm going to show you guys. Most of you have them that have been watching me for a minute. And I use a clapper and I use a, what is that thing called? A seam roll thing. Okay. So they want you to make these 4 patches. Okay. So I'm going to put the dark piece up because I press to the dark, and whichever one you're going to press toward, you want that on top. Your machine is going to naturally want, your fabric's going to naturally want to roll that way. Now, my friend Anne did not have a 1/4 inch foot. She didn't have 1/4 inch markings because that little machine didn't have it. So I had one of Lori Holt's little seam guide plastic flower looking doolollies. And I gave that to her and she was just thrilled because now she has a 1/4 inch seam guide. So that was cool. I was looking for this tape for her and I couldn't find it. I probably took it to the coast. So this will make 2 of them, 2 of the units, and she makes those corner units first. I'll make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, you know what? Doing the seam open or doing the seam closed, you guys, is a personal preference, complete personal preference, okay? If you don't have a clapper and you don't have a seam roll, you're going to not get as flat a seam as you would if the block was pressed open, because it's all on technique. Okay, so I'm going to back out here now and show you how I do this. I have links to these pressing tools. They're from Gray Rooster. He's a nice gentleman up in Fort Worth. I live southeast of San Antonio. I got to support my Texans, right? So the way I do this is a Cricut mini iron. There's no steam in here. I don't like steam. And the way I like to do this is just to open these up with the dark on top, okay? And I'm just going to finger press them and run my nail, all right, so it knows where I want it to go. And then I'm going to give it a good press. This is just a 3-tier cart. There's just a 3-tier cart, and I've got a Steady Betty on it, which has a piece of wood in it, okay? And then I'm going to press this with a clapper. There's a magic that happens. Even though I'm not using steam, there is still moisture in the fabric from the moisture in the air, unless you live in the desert Southwest. All right. My seam is so flat. Look how flat that is. There's no roll to it at all. Okay. It is so incredibly flat. So that's a workaround if you don't like pressing your seams open, which I don't. That's not my idea of a good time. I just really, really struggle getting my nests correct. So whenever I press open my seams, I tell you, my nests are so good with my method, and you use the method that works for you and you prefer. My nests are so good with my method. If I can see one little stitch in the nest that's not supposed to be there, I start to twitch. I don't like it. And that's going to make you, that's going to make your points off with this method as well. Okay. There's no fudging with this method that she's using. So your son lives in Katy. Am I near there? I'm about 2.5 hours from there. Brenda? Yeah. About 2.5 hours. He's east of me. Katy is just west of Houston. So, okay. Getting these nice and flat. So I'm just going to make this one unit. And then you, well, I like to make all 4 of them at one time, but I'm just doing these to show you guys. We'll get the top half done here. We'll see what the time has given me. Okay. All right. So now I have these nice flat blocks. I can't barely feel. Okay, I want to show y'all. I pressed these open. Okay. I'm just showing you guys. I can't tell the difference in the depth. When you use a seam roller, it has wool on it, and the wool absorbs that moisture. Okay. And then the wood smashes it flat and keeps it perfectly flat. So there's not a big bump there. I can't tell the difference. I cannot tell the difference. So that's just me. Steady Betty, where to buy? Debbie, I get mine directly from Steady Betty. You can buy them on Amazon and some other places. You can, if you can find it at a quilt shop, do that first. Call, if you have a local quilt shop, call them and ask them if they carry Steady Betty. This one is 13 by 17. They also have a Woolly Betty, and the Woolly Betty has the foam on one side and the wool on the other. This gray wool. I've got one of those in the RV, in the coach. But I like to buy directly from Steady Betty and just cut out the middleman. And there are more selection of Steady Betties on their website than anywhere else. I don't have a link to that. Would a strip stick work for pressing? Yes, Marguerite, it can, but there's no heat with that, right? I just have much better luck with heat. You need to get one of those seam rollers. I know, they're really very handy. So I love these because they're small. Okay, these fit in my Yazzie bags. And this is also a clapper if you need it. The wood is so smooth and so soft, and it fits my hand. I also have the big long 13-inch one because when I'm doing these long seams right here, okay, when I'm doing these two long seams, I need the long one. They're an investment in tools. They're not super expensive, but if you're you need good pressing tools if you're going to be a quilter, okay? If you can't find, or, if you have a child's wooden block around, abscond with that. They won't know it's missing, okay? You need something that is untreated. You don't want chemicals, okay? I like the portable size too. I love this. It has some grooves for my fingers. These are fantastic. I absolutely love them. So I bought my little ones one time, and then the next month I bought my big ones because I decided I needed those. And then I bought another set of little ones and put them in my Yessie bag. So I'm into Gray Rooster. So, okay. So now let's do the nesting. Why are you hung up on there? So when I nest, I know we have some beginner quilters here, all right? When I nest, I'm going to take the two blocks and put them opposites, okay? And I put my thumbs on it, and I start them maybe 1/2 inch, 3/8 inch away and line up the edges, and then slide them toward each other until they meet and they can't go any further. And I hold it still, and I grab a hold of it right there. Then I take a pin. I'm a pinner. And I go at an angle, not straight like this, but at a 45-degree angle. I go in one side of that seam allowance and out the other side of the seam allowance. Okay. So the reason for that is, I'm going to show you guys the stitch line. Let me mark my stitch line now that I've already pinned it. I should have done that ahead of time, but okay. The reason I do this, let me mark this too. Okay. The reason I do that, okay, is as I'm coming down and stitching, and you see that red line, all right, this allows me to get the needle 1 or 2 stitches over the nested seam. I mark the nested seam as well. So 1 to 2 stitches over the nested seam, and then I pull the pin. And that way I know that seam is locked together. And it's really important that you get your edges straight on this. There's no forgiveness in this method that Lori uses. So let's get this going. Let me get you in here. I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch. I'm going to go 1 or 2 stitches over that line and pull my pin. Make sure my bottom corners are together. Okay. And if we did it right, if we didn't, I'll take it apart. But if we did it right, you're going to have a perfect nested seam. Okay. A perfect nested seam. That method works every time. Okay. And once you learn how to make your perfect nested seams, your life is going to be a lot easier. I love this. This works great. Okay. So I'm going to do another one. This is little quilting for beginners, right? These are foundational skills for quilting. Slide those nested edges together. Okay. In one side of the seam allowance and out the other. Make sure my corners are met. Oh, I also got Anne, my friend, using leaders and enders because her machine, you know, it's very, very basic. I showed her how to adjust the tension. We got everything working good in there. And I will put a pin down here if these edges don't want to match up. I will put a pin horizontally and make sure that they do. 1 or 2 stitches over the seam at the nest. Okay. And it's so satisfying to get it right every time. Okay. Yeah. Very, very nice. Yeah, you do press your seams open when you're garment sewing. That's right, Carol. You betcha. Especially on a sleeve. That'll be bulky, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, the pinning on the 45-degree angle is definitely a game changer when it comes to, because you want, that fabric's going to shift. You know, those feed dogs are under there doing their thing, especially if you do not have a machine that has a single hole needle plate. That single hole needle plate is very, very helpful. You don't have to have it. But if you have a machine that allows a zigzag, so it's got a bigger open hole and it's got feed dogs, right? Your fabric wobbles. You don't see it. You don't realize it, but it wobbles big time. So now this is wanting to fold this way. I could press this one open, but I'm not. I'm just going to fold it over. I'm going to give it my nail. Lori uses that roller thingy. I had one. Meh. 6 one, half dozen of the other. Okay. I'm not telling you not to buy it. You found the clapper at Walmart. Oh. Okay. These clappers are from Gray Rooster. These are handmade by a gentleman up in there. He has an Etsy shop. There are all different kinds of clappers. The ones coming from Walmart are made in China. Very, very flat. Okay, there's the block. It looks fine on the back. And let me do this one. Let's see. Open that up. So I'm giving this a good press. Clappers have been in garment sewing for centuries. Tailors have known about clappers forever. It's just now, they're just now making their way into the quilting world. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so that looks really good. All right. Give a quilter an inch and she'll think she's a ruler. Quilting ruler, get it? We get it. Let's see. You had a plastic roller years ago? Should I set the seam for a few seconds before opening up to press it flat? Dave, you can. That's a thing. I've seen people do it. The point of pressing the seam first, set the seam, is to let the thread know that, or the fabric know, make it more malleable. I believe that is the word, because heat allows movement of things easier, like using a heat gun to bend pipe or bend whatever. That's all it does. It removes some of the moisture from the fabric. I just press mine open with my fingernail. Okay. I have set the seam before. You can. Nothing wrong with it. His shipping is excellent. Yeah. Okay. So here's where the half square triangle comes in. So you're going to take another background square. Look at these. And what she does is she sets it on top. Make sure you can see. She sets it on top of the color square and matches up these edges exactly. This is why your cutting needs to be perfect. If your cutting's wrong and your seams are wrong, it's going to be wrong. All right. I'm going to draw a line. And this is the philosophy behind the turn of cloth. The turn of cloth is a garment sewing term. It's been in those couture sewing forever. The fabric has to have room on that fold to fold over. So if you exactly make your line corner to corner and then try to fold it over, it's going to be short. So what you do is you put your ruler corner to corner. Okay. And you draw a line, put your ruler corner to corner, make sure it's on there, and then draw a line next to it. And then I make a little mark on it, on the part that's hanging out from underneath the ruler. So this is what it looks like. If the ruler is corner to corner, the line is not. The line is next to corner. So that means this is the shorter side. So I make a little mark on there to tell me that that's the shorter side. Why do I do that? Because I'm going to mark all of them at one time. And if they get turned around, I won't know which is which because it's very difficult to see. Now, Lori does this same thing. She is using a ruler. She tells you to make a line corner to corner. But when you watch the video, her ruler's corner to corner. She's drawing a pencil line right next to it. Now, she doesn't normally draw lines, but she did that for line drawers for the sake of the video. She's doing the exact same thing. And then she's putting it on there with the shorter side. That's the part that's going to be cut off. Okay. And if you ever have to mark 50 of these at one time, that mark is very helpful. Okay. Let me put this back. All right. So now I'm going to take the colored background. Okay. And this is the one with the mark on it. That's the shorter side. If the ruler's corner to corner, the line is not. So one side is shorter than the other. And you have to match up these outer corners. This is really important. Okay. Match them up so you can't see the back. So this is my concept that I talk about all the time of maintaining the integrity of the base shape. You can't tell that there's another piece of fabric on there from the back. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. Okay. So I want this on here. I want to make sure it's not like that where you can, that's no good. And you don't want that. Okay. They should look exactly the same from back to front. And you've got to get those edges perfectly even. And you should not see blue from the front and you should not see white from the back. All right. Now you're going to stitch on the line because the line is not corner to corner. It's right next to it. Now Lori uses her seam guide thing. She says she's keeping the corner of the fabric on that 1/4 inch seam, but I don't think so. There's no way. She's got to be doing it off just a hair. Because this fabric is going to fold. That's the turn of cloth. When you make that fold, your turn of cloth is right here. It's right there, okay? And usually it's only about a thread or 2 of fabric width. That is the turn of cloth. You use that in collars especially, so that a pointed collar, you don't get flippy collars. The under collar needs to be hair smaller than the upper collar so that it doesn't flip. All right. Now here's where Lori is a master and I am not. All right. So you can't see it from the back. I've maintained the integrity of the base shape. Right here, she tells you, get your scissors and cut a 1/4 inch seam right next to the outside of that. No, I'm not doing that. This block has to be 4.5 inches square. And I'm not going to do that because that freaks me out. Okay. So now I'm going to take this larger, this is the piece that was under the ruler. And now because I'm sewed on the line, I've got room and it matches and meets perfectly. See that? It meets. Okay. You're not torquing it sideways. It's not short. You've got the room there and it meets exactly where you want it to. It also created a 1/4 inch seam on your corners. Okay. Okay. Yes, this will keep you busy during the zombie apocalypse. Absolutely. So my technique for this, because if I don't have, this is a guide for me. It tells me where to fold this to. Okay. If I cut this off, I might be folding this short. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know it needed to be restitched. I might have too much. I wouldn't know I needed to do something to fix that. I can't. Okay. So what I do is I'll go ahead and hold the 2 little points together. Okay. So I'm going to hold the 2 little points together because the background, this piece right here, that's telling me where I need to fold it to. If it's not there, how do I know where to fold it to? I don't know. So I'm going to match this exactly. Then I hold my points together and then I lay them over my seam roll and hold that down and press. Okay. I'm going to press it and get this. Use my clapper. Okay. All right. That looks good. I've maintained the integrity of the base shape. Now, well, pretty much. I can cut it. Okay. Now I can cut it. Yes, I threw that away. I don't want to hear it. And I still have a 4.5 inch square. A perfect 4.5 inch square. Okay. And this is how you measure that. And oh, I remember the email. It wasn't an email. There was a comment below the video that was very good about cutting. And the person asked about the width of lines on rulers. Some have wide lines, some have skinny lines. How do you know which one to use? How do you account for that? Okay. Oh, do I have that on there right? Yeah. So I can see that this works. Okay. Worked just fine. Now, or good enough for government work. Okay. As long as your final block comes out to be 10.5, you've done it right. There are so many variables in the stitching per machine, right? There's variables in the thread that you use. Some is finer than the other. So do your best, right? But that turned out good. And if it's a little bit big, it can be trimmed. That's better than, so long as you're not cutting off your 1/4 inch seam allowance at the points. Okay. Yeah, I don't cut anything. I know, right? So, oh, let me do this other one. So I'm going to fold my point up, make it fit, hold it down, press it. I don't give it a chance to think about moving. Okay. Okay. Yep. That looks good. That's what I'm after. That's exactly the way she says to make them. Okay. That'll work. But she does take her little square up rulers and cube cuts, I think she calls them. And she makes sure that the block measures 4.5. All right. All right. So this unit's almost done. Now it needs the gold. And it's the same process, but you do the gold on one of these background. And you've got, it's important to make sure you've got those edges exactly matching so it looks the same from the back as it does from the front. Okay. Now, when you get good, you don't necessarily need, once you get the hang of this, you don't necessarily need the line. Okay. Lori doesn't use a line. But I've got the diagonal seam tape on the bed of my machine. And I just make sure, I'll show you, let me get you in really close because this will be a time saver. What type of ruler is on my wool mat? That's a Flying Geese square up ruler from Creative Notions quilt shop and out of their monthly thing. I'm going to show you guys. Let me get you up real close what I do. This is from Cluck Cluck Sew. This stuff, 1/4 inch seam tape. I've got it in my Amazon store. The red line is the 1/4 inch seam. When I'm doing this, I start the needle just to the right, my right of the point on the square. Oh, it'll be here. I'll start it just to the right of the point, and I ride, and I stare at this point right down here, and I make sure that this is just, it rides this side of that red line, the left side of the red line. If it's right on it, I'm going to be sewing exactly point to point, corner to corner, and I won't have the turn of cloth allowance that I need. Okay. So that's what I do. So at what point do I trim the excess? Carol, I trim it after I have made sure it's going to fit with the fold. So what I do is I will put this on here. I'm eyeballing it and I can see I'm just to the left of the point. Okay. Just to the left of the corner. And this corner of the gold is right here on the left side of this line. So the stitching is going to come just a thread or two away from that corner. So that's how I do that when I eyeball it. It's a lot easier when the needle's down. Okay. That's how that's done. And either one works. It doesn't matter which one you do. You just have to make sure to match up those edges so that these are straight. It's got to sit at a 90, exactly where it's supposed to. So now the needle's down, I can just put the point right next to the needle and the point right next to the left side of that line. Whoop, what's going on here? Okay. So I didn't have to draw the line. Okay. But it fits. Now I can press it. Let me press this real quick here. Okay. Make sure it's not skewed. We don't need any skewing going on. So this is off just a hair right here. Okay. It's skewed over just a little bit. I can live with that because my 1/4 inch seams are fine. So I'm okay with that. That now is the point when I would cut. Just like that. I'm okay with that. That fabric's not going anywhere. Okay. And then this one, I fold it up, make sure it meets exactly the points meet. Now press it. All right. And that looks really good. Better to be over than under, right? But my 1/4 inch seams are right. Okay. So that's how to make those blocks. That's how you make all of your half square triangles in this quilt. So, oh, you know what I didn't do? I'm not supposed to sew this one on yet. I got ahead of myself because of the time. This needs to be sewn on here, on that one. It's fine. I'll do it. It'll be fine. Nobody will know. But you and me. It'll look great tomorrow. So, yeah, so do your 2 colored points first from your original 4 patch, and then put that the one that makes up the center, that gold one right there. Then do that one third. So, and you got to make 4 of those units. And the way I did mine was I did 1, 2, of course, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I sewed them together with this unit, this centerpiece, and this unit, so it was vertical. And my middle row was the brown, aqua orange, aqua brown. And then this is the other row. So I did it vertically to put them together. It doesn't matter. That's how I did it. Anyway, all right. So that's it. Our hour. We're past time. I heard Keith feeding Fritos, so I know we're good. All right. You like my book holder? It's in my Amazon store, Bernadette. I love it too. Pat Sloan had one. Well, if Pat's got one, I got to have one, right? So I went out and got it, and it holds everything just fine. But I love my little sewing area over here. Thank you all so much for your well wishes for Keith. I will not see you tomorrow. I will be over at the hospital with my husband, where he gets his new bionic knee. And I want to thank Bonnie very much for lending us her little ice water freeze doololly thingy for his knee. That's good. We've got a walker, the regular walker without the wheels. We've got a little potty lift seat. We've got a shower stool. We are ready, I think. So I'll let you guys know how it goes on Wednesday when I come back. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Just probably starting on Wednesday, I'm going to need the prayers. Patience, Lord, and grace, right? So, y'all, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for spending your time with me. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door if you wouldn't mind. And clean up in the kitchen. Y'all take whatever you want. That's fine. It's all fat and calorie free. And we will see you guys on Wednesday, okay? Go get that sewing machine turned on and you guys go sew something, all right? We'll talk to you soon. Bye.